Something feels different in the air heading into this Super Bowl. A massive award that slipped away by one vote. An injury report that looks fine right up until you actually read what it's saying. A Patriots legend who sounded neutral and then picked his spot. And behind all of that, an off-season swing that could reshape what this offense even looks like next year. You can feel how those threads could snap together, right? Keep that in the back of your mind, because there's one detail people are straight up not accounting for, and I'm saving it for the very end. If you're Patriots Nation, you already know the vibe. This week isn't just excitement, it's pressure, it's noise, it's narrative. And whether anyone wants to admit it or not, that stuff creeps into the locker room. The MVP snub? That's not just sports radio talking. It hits two sensitive nerves at once. How the league frames the story, and what a team runs on emotionally. Drake May losing MVP to Matthew Stafford by a single first-place vote isn't only about numbers on a page. It's a reminder that the Patriots are still being treated like the surprise guest, not the main event. And don't kid yourself, players notice that. The only question is what it turns into. Sharp edge or bad distraction? What really sets people off in Foxborough is the detail underneath it. One person put a first-place vote on Justin Herbert won, and that single vote helped keep May from taking home the biggest individual award in the sport. Your first reaction is to yell, "They stole it!" Totally fair. But here's the twist that's been floating around Patriots circles. Some fans are almost not mad about it. Yeah, it's superstition. No, it's not science. But you know how this goes. When the history starts lining up, people start believing a pattern is real. Because the Brady comparisons showed up immediately. When Brady won MVP, the Patriots lost the Super Bowl. When he didn't, the Lombardi came back to New England. I'm not telling you the universe trades trophies like it's a checkout line. That's belief, not proof. Still, the practical part matters. It can strip away the MVP has to validate it weight and replace it with something cleaner. You didn't give us that one? Fine, we'll go take the one that actually matters. If the locker room buys into that mindset, it's a problem for Seattle. There's a catch, though. A snub can become great fuel, or it can turn into forced hero ball. That's the danger. If May starts hunting the perfect play, holding the ball, trying to win the Super Bowl by himself, that's how games slip away. The coaching point has to be simple. Turn the anger into discipline. Stick to the plan. Take what's there. Stay on schedule. If May plays clean, Seattle ends up eating the cost. And just sit with this for a second. Stafford gets the award and watches the Super Bowl from his couch. Meanwhile, May is staring at something bigger, a 7th Lombardi for this franchise, and maybe even a Super Bowl MVP. If that happens, the whole MVP debate flips instantly. But before we even get to Sunday, there's a much more immediate issue that can't be brushed aside, because there's a detail in that final injury report that most people are skimming right over, and that's exactly where the tension lives. When you see questionable, your brain auto-translates it to, he'll play. Super Bowl doesn't forgive shortcuts like that. Robert Spillane, Harold Landry III, and Joshua Farmer are all listed as questionable, and at first glance it feels manageable, until you separate who went full all week, who stayed limited, and what that actually means when the body gets pushed to the absolute edge. Farmer is the cleanest of the three. Full participant all week, normal workload. In NFL language, that usually means the plan stays the plan. He can rotate up front the way the Patriots want without needing to be sheltered. The uneasy part starts with the other two. Spillane and Landry were limited. That's not random. That's the medical staff controlling explosion, lateral movement, and impact. Basically the stuff that decides third downs and red zone stands. So the real question isn't, do they dress? It's, which version of them are you getting on the biggest snaps of the year? Spillane says he's 100% confident he'll be ready. Players say that. Always. The body answers on Sunday. An ankle can look fine in a straight line until you have to plant, redirect, and collide. and Seattle makes a living stressing that second step. Landry's situation is even messier. A nagging knee. Those don't always keep you out, but they can steal that half second of burst. And a half second in the Super Bowl turns into a conversion, or a missed sack, or a chunk play you'll replay in your head for way too long. And yeah, there's more. The ripple effect is real. If Spillane isn't right, New England has to protect the middle of the field and simplify some of those underneath responsibilities. If Landry can't consistently win off the first move, the pass rush has to be manufactured more. Pressure packages, simulated looks, more help from scheme instead of pure one-on-one domination. That changes rotations. It changes play calling. It even changes how the offense manages the game, because once a defense gets tired, everything shifts. And this is where Patriots Nation splits. Do you ride the big names at 80% because it's the Super Bowl? Or do you trust the rotation and live with the talent drop because 100% matters more? Here's the piece almost nobody is talking about. Questionable itself can mess with the opponent's prep. Seattle has to prepare for them to play and prepare for them not to be themselves. That hesitation changes calls. It changes aggression. Sometimes the edge isn't physical, it's mental. Which brings me to another mental game that just showed up at the perfect time. Most people thought that story was closed. Tom Brady is an analyst now, a minority owner now. He sounded neutral. End of discussion. Except the contradiction is what makes it fascinating. I don't have a dog in the fight sounds reasonable, but it doesn't sound like the guy who built a dynasty in Patriot blue. Then, with less than 48 hours left before kickoff, he sends a message directly to Robert Kraft, and the whole vibe shifts. Not at a podium, not with cameras flashing, just right on time. Patriots Nation heard the neutrality and took it as distance, like the page was being turned too quickly. But context matters. He's on a national broadcast platform where impartiality is part of the job. He's also tied to another AFC organization in a business way. Picking a side publicly isn't just emotion, it's professional. And Brady has always been about control, preparation, narrative, legacy. So he handled it the most Brady way possible, away from the spotlight, toward the family. When he tells Kraft, "You know I got your back," he isn't trying to steal attention. He's signaling that the bond still holds. And here's the part people don't really want to admit. He doesn't have to wave pom-poms to be with the Patriots. The timing is the point. If he drops that too early, it turns into a headline circus. He drops it right here, and it lands like an internal message. And those can hit harder in a locker room than fans realize. The impact is cultural. This is a new chapter in New England. New regime, new leaders, new identity. But the shadow of the past is still there. When the greatest to ever do it shows support without demanding the stage, it validates the present without hijacking it. That's rare. And it's exactly why the fan base is split. Some hear coldness, others hear grown man maturity. Where do you land? And the irony is kind of perfect. Brady can say neutral out loud. But the moment the Patriots are back on this stage, everything he built rushes right back into the conversation. Especially with Mike Vrabel on that sideline. Someone who lived those standards from the inside. If New England gets that 7th Lombardi, nobody's going to care about one neutral line. They'll remember the message, the timing, the quiet, "I'm still here." And while everyone debates legacy, the future is already shifting underneath all of it. Because here's the bet, and if it hits, the whole board changes. The Patriots have money, draft capital, and maybe the most dangerous ingredient of all, context. Drake May needs another real weapon. Not a project, not a maybe, a true difference maker. And when A.J. Brown's name gets floated, it isn't just about talent, it's about connection. Vrabel knows him. Brown understands that standard. And the league knows that when New England sees a window, they don't always wait politely. Right now, before June 1st, the math makes it feel almost impossible. Trading Brown would crush Philadelphia with massive cap penalties. No front office wants to swallow that. After June 1st, the picture shifts. The dead money drops, the cap flexibility changes, and the conversation moves from no chance to painful but doable. That's the chess match. New England doesn't need to rush. It needs to be positioned. The part most people aren't digging into is the timing with the draft and the picks. New England can't move its 2026 picks in a deal for Brown, so any real package leans into 2027 selections. And that's where Patriots Nation will split clean down the middle. One side says, get May the alpha receiver now and accelerate everything. The other side says, don't mortgage the future for one player. Neither side is crazy. It's about appetite for aggression. And don't get it twisted, it won't be cheap. That midseason idea of Kayshon Boutte and a second-round pick got turned down. In the offseason, you're probably talking at least a first-rounder, maybe a young rotation piece, maybe even a depth offensive lineman Philadelphia believes it can develop. That's the price tag. But here's the real question. How often do the Patriots actually get a legit chance to pair a franchise quarterback with a top-tier wideout in his prime? Not often. And yeah, there's more. If a post-June 1st move like that happens, it sends a loud message without needing to shout. New England isn't rebuilding. They're accelerating. They're telling the locker room the Super Bowl isn't the emotional ceiling. It's the starting line. That changes chemistry. It changes expectations. It changes how free agents look at Foxborough. Could it work? Absolutely. Could it backfire? Also absolutely. But standing still has a cost too, and it's usually bigger than people want to admit. Which brings us back to the same intersection where all of this connects. The MVP that didn't happen can remove pressure and sharpen focus. The injury report is a reminder that championships go to whoever can survive every snap. Brady's message proves legacy doesn't need a stage. And the A.J. Brown possibility shows the kind of appetite this Patriots front might actually have. And here's that insane detail I told you I'd say for the end. The Patriots didn't get here by accident. They got here by choice. Every one of these moments is pressure and opportunity. So I'm asking you straight, do you want comfortable caution, or do you want bold swings with a real chance at building the next era? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and stay locked in with me through Sunday.